we have come to the end of the road. Were you guys satisfied? Because I felt a little empty. Guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss Women of the Movement episodes 5 and 6. Now, before I get into, even though I left the show feeling really empty, I think that was the real idea of the show in general. I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss all things. I got really pissed off episodes 5 and 6.
Go back.
Now that you guys have hopefully subscribed to see more of me, let's get into these episodes. Now, episode 5, Mothers and Sons, starts off as a fucking fashion show courtesy of Miss Bryant. Like, ma'am, have several seats. She's checking out her makeup, finding the right dress. Like, they sure are different up north. Low-key jealous of Mamie that she's able to speak a certain way, dress a certain way. Like, I have to compete. Already not taking this trial as serious as it should have been taken. Not that she would take the trial serious anyway, because no one is here. It's really different when you get to see it on television like this. I didn't know any details about the trial, like in depth. I just knew for the most part that she lied. But here, just to have them have all this evidence in their face and throw it out the window and get all the way up to the trial and still sit on the fact that, well, it probably wasn't even him. They're still at this point saying that this was the wrong kid and he still, maybe got away. They're flat out denying that this is Emmett. That shit blew my mind. So even though we have Wanda and Willie, two witnesses, two terrified ass witnesses, take the stand, trying to stand up for what's right, pretty much both saying the same exact thing. They saw 4 men going in and out of the shed, 2 black men, that green truck, a young boy who strongly looks like Emmett, even goes as far as to say that they saw the same pistol-packing, bald-headed man who got Emmett from Uncle Mo's in the first place. And of course, they tried to break down their testimonies in the most unrealistic way. And it doesn't help that the jury, the lawyers, the community already sees them as less than. Nobody stood a chance here from the very beginning. Now, between that dog and pony show in the courtroom and them straight up disrespecting those 2 witnesses and the 2 reporters who couldn't get into the trial being made to know that those black men that you were looking for that participated in the death of Emmett, they are being, held up in jail across county. They are in there to sit until the trial is over so they won't testify. At that point, it's just so crazy how we're watching and it's like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen next. We know exactly what's going to happen next, but that's just a testament to how good the show is. You are hoping right along with Mamie Till, like, I'm just hoping that they can get, these 2 men. I'm hoping that they can get a witness. I'm hoping that they can make some strides in this trial, because from the very beginning of the episode, you just knew that everything was against them. But it's just crazy to sit and watch it and see how much joy that they took in it. Now, there were a plethora of things to piss me off in these last 2 episodes, but to have them straight up play in Mamie Till's face and just have the nerve to even say, how do you know that that was your son? Like, how do you know? That could have been anyone. Like, that made me so mad. Like, the fact that they're so... evidence in the case was, yeah, it might not have been him. It's just like, you're telling me as a mother that I don't know my own son. The disrespect, just because you did your worst to completely disfigure him and throw him away, and now I have to be forced to look at pictures, identify him on the stand, and prove myself as a mother that I know my own son from head to toe. Get out of my damn face. They have absolutely no grounds here. Nothing to go on. We're hollering, well, we don't have any evidence. You guys don't have any evidence in the case. Like, the whole fan, there's a whole fan here that was used to weigh him down. There's that ring on his body. There's, testimony from witnesses. There's evidence everywhere, but they're completely throwing it out and overlooking it. Almost goes as, well, how do you know that was his ring? How do you know? Because I seen it every day. I seen him walk out of here. Just her having to prove herself was really upsetting me. Not only are we sitting here acting like she doesn't have the capacity to identify a ring that was passed down to her son, but we get into life insurance policies. And, didn't you tell him to kneel in the paper? Didn't you tell him to humble himself? What kind of boy was he back in Chicago? Just trying to make him look problematic. Per usual, we have to attach some nonsense to the victim when we don't have shit else to go on. Once again, get out my face. We have that rotten ass sheriff take the stand, who of course is unattached, unconcerned, and ignorant. Like, why you here? He takes the stand, but we have people on the outside really like they are on a time crunch. If we don't get to these witnesses, make some type of strides, they won't be able to take the stand. It'll be too late. This may be our only chance. But around this time, because we had the lawyer going in at this moment, and I was like, wow, Mamie's lawyer is really going in for them. Like, he's really trying. And then like something like up in here was like, no, he not. Now, right around the time that we have Lil Baby come back sunburned, he didn't make any strides to find the two witnesses. We have our two black reporters like, we can't get inside. We can't even get close the way you can. We need you, as our fellow white reporter, to go in on our behalf and inform Mamie's lawyer about those two witnesses that they have stashed away in the jail. We could make strides. This could be our last chance to save Emmett. Child, when we had that man sit there and just flat out ignore the evidence that was being presented, like who's where in what jail? Yeah, no, they're not there. Well, yeah, I know they're not there. Me saying it, that goes against, ethics, that goes against code. I'm going to go and try to, do what I can with what I have and make strides, the right way. But yeah, those two black witnesses who actually seen what happened, I don't care about that. I don't want to hear about that. And it's just like, oh, well, I hope you can sleep well knowing that you kind of threw out the only chance that we had of maybe Emmett getting justice. Once we had that conversation, I was like, oh, this is a show. This is a fucking stage play. It ran all the way deep. Once we were informed about, this lawyer, this being his last case, and, him kind of I was like, oh, this is a statement piece for you. It was never about winning for this lawyer. Everybody in that courtroom knew that justice would not be served, maybe except for Mamie. Maybe. Everybody knew deep down, especially the white people. Like, oh, this is your last grandstands, before you retire. This is your swan song. You're gonna go up here, do the dog and pony show, really make an effort, but they're not really gonna get justice anyway. So why would I even bring in those two witnesses? Now, what I will do is do what I do as a lawyer well, and when I retire, I will have worked on one of the biggest cases that made national news, Emmett Till. I was a part of that. I defended Mamie Till. I was that lawyer. Now it's at this point that we get into Miss Bryant taking the stand and making it look like Emmett just flat out assaulted her. She was running. She was attacked via her lies. I liked how they were trying to make it look like they were operating things correctly. It's like, okay, well, no, this is not going to be said in front of the jury. We're going to, have them step out, as if that made a goddamn difference. Like, we have windows open. We have the town is this small. Anything said in here is going to spread. They weren't going to win in the first place, but the fact that she flat out lied, you know, I put my hand out and for the money. Oh, you put your hand out? You were going to touch him? You weren't. I put my hand out for the money and he groped my hand and then he chased me. Don't you? That whole referring to him as a man, like, why are we still doing this shit now? Why do we still have to hear about young teens, young men, and it being gunned down, and as soon as they're gunned down, they're automatically a man now? It was a man. Like, no, this was a 14-year-old, but you know, just so we can justify it, just the fact that made it justified. Like, he groped her, and you have the audience, oh God, like, oh, shut the fuck up. Oh my God. Then he touched my shoulder. Oh God. Then he grabbed my hips to try to dance with me. Oh God. That just justifies everything, right? Just to have her up there and flat out lie. Mamie this entire time has been so strong to even just sit across from those people and mind her goddamn manners, take the stand, deal with all the fuckery that they were continuing to put in her face, trying to disrespect her, acting like she wouldn't be able to identify her own son's body. But that broke her. How dare you sit up there and say that my son, you know, was being malicious towards you. He was, you know, don't you like it? You can't you handle it? Like, where? My son doesn't talk like that. My son doesn't behave like that. He would never do that. Bitch, I know you're lying. But you know, as long as, oh God, oh my God, like, shut up. We completely have her out here being an OG Karen. Like, oh my God, he said he had white women before. Oh, he said he had a white woman before. Like, oh, now they gotta beat y'all off with a stick. Shut up. Like, just the fact that they were so like invested in her, like, oh my God, he actually touched you, he catcalled you, he asked you on a date, he whistled at you and tried to slow dance with you. You had every right to defend yourself as a white woman in Mississippi. So we're in an uproar with cheer when she says she went to the car and got her pistol. Like, oh yes, that's what you're supposed to do. Defend yourself, sister, defend yourself. Like, get the hell out of here. Meanwhile, Mamie is just like, bitch, no you didn't. Like, I don't even understand. I think that they maybe felt like, you know, there may be a chance that they can, you know, maybe be prosecuted. Now we have to get up here and make shit up and lie. I don't think that lie would have made a difference. I think everything was stacked against him already. With the trial being held in Mississippi, none of the boys were able to take the stand who were actually there to say what they saw. The other witnesses who participated in it couldn't take the stand. They're being held in jail. There's this, you know, all-white jury. Where were they going to win? Where? But this just reinforces Mamie, like, I have to change the narrative about my son. My son is not some groping assaulter. Like, he wouldn't attack her. He wouldn't do that. He's not that kind of boy. He damn sure not a man. We need to get in front of this. Now, we are just pretty much exhausted by the time we get to episode 6, the last word, and so is Mamie. I think once we get to episode 6, she really realized that this was strictly to showboat. Just because this made, you know, the news, you want to say you gave it a try, you gave it an effort, you gave those black people some type of justice just by even giving them a trial. There was no real intentions of her winning or getting any real justice for Emmett. You have everything just absolutely separated that didn't really amount to much. Of course, on the white side, we have the papers coming out. He was an attacker. He was trying to assault her. She was in fear for her life. And then, of course, on the opposite side, we have Mamie, you know, that's not my son. He damn sure wasn't a man. He was a boy. He was a good boy at that. He wouldn't do that. Both of them just taking time to try to change the narrative. But at the end of the day, in that actual courtroom, when it just got so like sweaty and hot and uncomfortable, it just looked hot as hell, period. But on that particular day, it just looked exhausting. So you're physically exhausted. You're sitting here in this hot ass, unair conditioned area, and you have these 4 demons sitting here loving each other, kissing on each other. They just feel so comfortable and so validated and just so justified. It ill, especially that bald Bryant brother. I just wanted him to get a boot to the face. Like, you look like a fucking foot. Sit down. No disrespect to the actor. But you know, they just know righteously nothing is gonna come of this. You know, go on, give us a slap on the wrist and we can go home. Like, girl, at least you got a trial. And we have more of the lawyers just going back and forth, exchanging stuff, trying to prove stuff to the jury that we know at the end just really doesn't matter. And both of them going over and over and over the top to top what the other one just said. It felt really preachy. It felt like a sermon, like they were pastors almost. Like, it was just getting to be all too much, and it didn't matter. When we actually get into them deliberating, was anybody really surprised? We get into them toying with them, you know, oh, we're not done, we're thirsty, and them completely feeling righteous and justified in everything that they did to Emmett. Like, well, he groped her. They all have that same mentality of, well, you know, if he did that and, you know, we let him get off, then every nigger walking by will think that they can do that and, you know, do this to our women. They'll think it's okay. We can't let that slide. They think it's funny, as well as everybody else who was in the courtroom. It's a joke. And we have, I think it was 2 jurors who were just like, no, let's think about the evidence. Well, that doesn't make sense. Well, why would they pick him up and drop him off? Put 2 and 2 together. Just like, no, we don't care. These are 2 fellow white guys in the community. We're going to go with the majority. In every single opportunity in the show where a white person was supposed to be doing the right thing or could have been an ally, they picked their side. They stuck together like fucking glue. I'm going to go with the majority. I can't sit here and say, you know, I have doubt that, you know, maybe they did do this to Emmett. This is a grieving mother. Maybe we should consider other things. Just like, nope, I can't go against the group. Same thing with the lawyer. If I go and get those witnesses, what does that say about the 2 other white guys, the 2 other officers who had my back and helped me with witnesses? They said they checked. I'm going to take their word for it. I'm going to go with the majority. Same thing later on when we have the reporter who decides to run the story about the father. They stuck together. We're going to stick together. We're going to be the majority. Do not ever think you have a fucking ally, because you don't. Now, right after we have that not guilty verdict, we have them just feel like they're home. We're scot-free. This is what we've been waiting on. Finally, it's over. Everybody in the town who was not on Mamie Till's side felt like, you know, justice was served. At least they got a trial. Now we can go back to our regularly scheduled programming. But halt, your asses got arrested for kidnapping. You admitted to that. We're going to take you in. I was living for the little sheriff who was in the other county like me. I'm going to do my job. You might want to do yours. Yes, somebody do their job. We have Mamie just not wanting to give up. You know, we didn't get any justice in there, but maybe we can get them on, you know, kidnapping. Maybe we can take this to trial, and we have her working on that and still deciding whether or not, like, it does not stop here. You've still been invited to, you know, speak other places. You can go and give more speeches. Keep his name out there. Let's keep this going. We still have a chance. Don't give up. We get into Uncle Mo's. Like, we have been kind of following him. We saw him, you know, go and get his money for participating in being a witness. And you can tell that there was a lot of tension in the air around the community. And we were just waiting. I literally yelled at the screen at Uncle Mo's, how long you gonna stay there? Just leave. I yelled, just leave, because it's like, it's never going to go back. You're never going to be able to kneel on the street or keep your hand down or be humble again. It's done. The best thing for you to do is leave. When we actually have him pack up and leave, and it's just such a strong, moving moment for him, because it's just like, this is all I know. I'm leaving, not only leaving this home, but the South, what I've this is me. I don't know who I am outside of this. So it was just such a grand stance for him to leave. You know, he left the dog. The sons are already, you know, geared up to go. And his wife is already in Chicago. He is geared up to move. And we get this triumphant music. You have the boys so excited. Like, we can't wait to see Lincoln Park. It's going to be so great. We even have, you know, him meet with the wife in the train. This big grand hug. And this is just supposed to be a good, huge leap for Uncle Mose in large strides for his character. I was feeling it, but I was mad. I was so emotional there because I felt for Uncle George and how big this was for him, but it was so bittersweet because it was like, we know what Emmett Till's murder did for everybody. This, woke everybody up. You have people in the community, just dapping him up like, yes, this is what it took. I'm woke now. We as people are woke. We won't let, injustices like this slide anymore. Maybe we should, keep our head down and do as we're told. Emmett's murder was the catalyst for a change and for Uncle George to even get to Chicago. But the fact that it took that does not make it any less hurtful. Like, to see those boys get off that train and embrace their mom, it was just like, damn, I understand what's going on here, and this is big for their family. But Emmett never got to get off of that train and embrace his mom again. When we get into Mamie, persevering, making those grand speeches, Emmett paid a large debt for all of us. He is not just my son anymore. He's all of our son, because it could have been any of your sons. And we need to change this. Mamie is considering going on this NAACP speaking tour. Offers are coming in for Mamie to speak everywhere. And she's almost kind of like a celebrity public speaker at this point. But it's not at all about the accolades for Mamie. Like, I don't care about a tour. I don't care about any money. This is for me to keep the narrative the correct way about my son and who he was, and to keep what happened to him in the public eye. I don't want this to die down. And we're really proud of her as viewers, seeing, where she came from when it initially happened. Like, I don't feel like I have a voice. I'm just a mom. Who cares or wants to hear what I have to say? She's so unsure of herself. But to get her, up there in front of the large crowds, making the big speeches, making everybody feel fulfilled and remember and just take pride in what she's been able to do, and want to really help her and champion her and getting justice for her son, we were proud of Mamie. Now, meanwhile, we have more things changing in Mississippi. We have the Bryants packing up, closing down their store, kind of like they're being pushed out of town. Whatever. I actually like the way that they were portrayed here, because I would hate for them to try to take characters like the Bryants and, try to give them any ounce of humanity or make them feel like they have any sympathy for the situation. I feel like they was trying to give Miss Bryant a little sympathy with how she was kind of lingering at the fact, like, wow, all of this transpired because of this, and maybe unsure of what she wanted to say on the trial, maybe to lie. But at the end, it just kind of looked like, oh, I'm not sorry because, Emmett lost his life. I'm sorry because look at our store. We don't have a store anymore. What are we going to do now for money? Yeah, show them for the bastards that they are. We get into the reporters just being fed up with Mamie's narrative in the press. She's taking control. They called her a mongrel. Like, bitch, if you don't, they're fed up. And it's just like, no, we have to find something. The narrative is looking a little too good for Mamie and her son, especially with us having that second kidnapping situation coming up and the boys maybe going to jail. We have to get ahead of this. We have to get in front of this. What kind of dirt do we have? Oh yeah, let's dig more into the husband's background. And that's what I was waiting on. I didn't know when that was going to come up exactly, but I knew about the two women that he maybe assaulted and the one that was maybe murdered, and him being beaten and lynched for that. And Mamie is in such a good mood, and just to see that just change her whole energy. And boy, how the switch up was quick. Did you see old dude? He was all for the NAACP tour, and girl, we love you. Look at you. Yes, Mamie. As soon as he saw that in the paper, the switch up was real. I was like, well, damn, at least, give me a moment. Do you think that this is something that I would leave out, that I think would, this will affect the outcome of my son's trial? Like, I'm not just, it's like, well, no, you should have told me. We could have got ahead of this. Now it's looking like, you're acting a certain way and trying to portray your son a certain way. But on the other hand, it looks like you were endorsing what your husband did. Like, it's just like, no, I have been through some stuff with my husband. I'm not proud of it. He wasn't the best husband. He was an abusive man. He was many things, but I don't think he was that. Why should I take anything that they have to say about what he did to be lynched to any white woman for face value? Look what's going on now with my son. And now you have the nerve to run in the paper like father, like son. Of course, the person who ran it and ran the story was the same man. Oh, you're going to participate and not getting justice and not want to be getting to the witness Chris says, yeah, because we're all gonna stick together and just do our job. Whatever. But I was mad at that switch up. Like, what you can do is back up. I was so glad that Mamie was just like, you know what? This is all getting to be too much. I need to take some space for myself. Even away from the cousin, trying to make sure she got her bread. Like, hold on now, Mr. NAACP. That's all cute and dandy, but I need her to get some coin for going on this tour. There's a lot of money to be made from all the publicity, rallying the people up, her giving these speeches. It's like, oh, yeah, I don't care about none of that. Not only do I not care about none, this is just getting to be too much. This is now my baby's narrative. I need to take a break. Now, in Mamie taking a break, I assumed that we were taking a break too, but we were far from taking a goddamn break. She is exhausted, and so are we. At every single turn that I have tried to get justice for my son, I have hit a roadblock. They really don't want to see me win. We get into the Bryants being offered money to tell their story. They will remain anonymous, but a writer wants to run their story. I'll pay you for it. Just tell me the honest truth, and that'll be it. Of course, Baldy was doing all the talking because he's been the enforcer this entire time. I love how they had the other brother just kind of squeamish, like, oh God, I'm just, just ragtag. I'm trying to do this to fit in with my brother and be mad and you can get the fuck out of my face. As far as episode 1 is concerned, I didn't think that we would return to that. I thought that would be all she wrote as far as what happened to Emmett, and they will just let our imaginations do the work, because we saw more than enough when we got to see the images of his body. When we get into, which I thought was really, it was a lot. I didn't know that we were going to go there. We get to see what happened to Emmett via his murderers. That was different. I didn't know we were going to get that. I was really surprised. I was really taken back. Of course, they have the nerve to lie. We're embellishing, making something look like it's not. Oh, we didn't slap him. We only hit him with a gun. We never cut him. The proof is in the pudding. We've seen the body. Like, shut up. But of course, he's writing and going along with it, but we see everything up from the moment that they took him from Uncle Mole's until the actual murder. The witnesses watching them, we go from him being just beaten, him being strung up, him being beaten some more, and then just flat out being shot in the head. And this all happened over the course of a night all the way to the morning. Like, it was just pure torture and just so sad, because we know that it was all for absolutely nothing. When we see the blunt shit that happens to him and he is just spent and he whimpers mama, I was finished at that point. I was like, oh my goodness, this is so much. This is so much. But I mean, I'm not even sure how I felt about it being there. I just wasn't expecting that. Everything was hitting hard enough for me. It really makes you identify and really fear for Emmett and what he had to go through, even more so than before. So I know why it was there, but I just didn't want to see it. That damn whimper of mama took me out, and him just being so in fear. Like, the last thing that he ever got to hear and see were those ignorant people, those three black dudes just watching, like, get the fuck out of here. We have them continue to embellish. We never took him to the store to be identified. We never, really beat him up that badly. Meanwhile, we have him they wrapped that fan around his neck and just threw him away like he was nothing. It was just absolutely horrible. And then we add insult to injury, because I still don't even think it would have mattered, but them running that story on Emmett in correlation with what his father did just taints the whole case, and they go free yet again. And Mamie is just over it. I have tried everything. She completely breaks down. I'm so glad when her mom walked in, because I was like, oh my God, somebody help us, somebody be there. Once the mother walks in and she's, talking about the laundry machine, and she's just like, well, what's going on? It's like, well, Emmett broke it. He didn't say anything. It's just like, you're just finding out this now. And we realize it's only been 2 months. I literally yelled, 2 months? It's been 2 months. All of this has transpired over 2 months. Like, she has not even had a proper moment to take it all in, to grieve, just be one with herself in acceptance that her baby is gone. I haven't even been home enough to do anything. It's just been 2 months. The strength that she carried, 2 months, and like her mom said, like, some people, they wouldn't have even gotten out of bed. They wouldn't even have the to muster up. They wouldn't have enough to even do what you did, baby. Just be content in what you did, because with her trying everything that she could possibly try and hitting a roadblock, it's like, at this point, now I just have to blame myself. What could I have done more as a mom, as a person? What I could have said differently at the trial? And of course she said, well, we thought, he just probably shouldn't have gone. I should have been there for him the one time he needed me. I wasn't there. And it's just like, your son, our Emmett, was the catalyst for change. He did so much. And I shed some tears when she said, I didn't want my son to be a martyr. I didn't want my son to be an example. I didn't want my son to be, for progress and change. I wanted my son to just be my son. I want my son to be in his room. I didn't ask for this. Why my baby? Like, oh gosh, I was like, Jesus. Now, literally, these entire 2 episodes, I was yelling, where is Jean? Where is Jean, girl? Where is your support system? I was so geeked when he said, like, Jean has been unwavered. Like, she is completely, she has every right to, like, she's lashing out at the people closest to her. Like, I don't want to hear anything about, any justice, or I should keep fighting. Look what's happening. I don't want your sorry ass marriage proposal. I don't want your positivity. Just get away from me with that. I need to be alone. I need to grieve. It's just like, no. You want to get mad, you want to scream, fine. We're going to do it together. We're going to be this together. I'm not leaving. Emmett would want you to move forward. Emmett would want you to move on. And she finally, just has some real acceptance of, ask me again, like, I'm going to get married to you. I was like, yes, girl, don't lose Jean. We need Jean. But when we have her realistically feel like, well, that was it. Like, my son, was that push. But now what? I'm forgotten, and so is he. They've moved on to the next thing. Like, when that happened, it just really, like, I sunk in. And it really hit home. It made me feel empty, because it's just like, we do this. We see this, so we don't mean to, but we see this stuff so often and see injustice happen so often. And these same young men, these women, trans men and women, gay, just all kinds of people murdered in the most heinous ways, especially hate crimes like this one. We move on so quickly. Like, it's there, it's in the press, it's in the news, it's online, it's viral, it's everywhere at that moment. And then over time, we forget, because we've seen so much of it. We don't remember those mothers. We don't remember those children. It's a horrible cycle. Now, we end the episode with Mamie going to school to better herself, to persevere. Like, I have to keep going, not only for myself, but for my son. I have to, do these things for myself now. Like, I have to, who am I outside of this situation? But you have people reminding her what you did and what happened to your son matters. Like, you've changed everything forever. Like, thank you so much. We have a lot of time go by, and we have her kind of on the outside looking in at things. She's not as inclusive and a part of the movement anymore. So you have the situations happening with Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks and the bus, and certain civil rights things. We see things change over time, and it was like, that was just a feeling of, was I ever there? I was important at that moment, but right now I'm just an outsider watching change. I'm not as a part of the movement, even though on the outside, she kept fighting. She did what she could do. She was still speaking. She was still making people remember her son. She never gave up on her stance in doing what she needed to do to get, even if I wasn't going to get real justice, nobody's going to forget about Emmett Till. And we just end off, with time going by and her getting older and going to visit the monument with his name on it and what happened to him, as well as several others. And it's just like, it did mean something. His name is here right along with Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, everybody else who did something of value, who added something to value of lives of Black people, who, progress, change. His name is up here. Like, my baby matters. What we did matter. It was real deep, y'all. I was about to say I'm looking forward to the next episode. Ain't no next episode. This was a limited series, of course. I am looking forward to more of the show. I'm really interested to see who they're going to do next and cover, and us to get a more, intimate perception of these people. Because here, like, I thought we were gonna, we finna get into episode 6, and no, they punched us in the face with both episodes. I was like, oh my goodness, it ain't over. But the punches in the face were worth it, even though they hurt. It's worth it. I'm glad that we know so much more now about not only Emmett Till, but Mamie Till also. Well, you guys, that was my review for Women of the Movement, episodes 5 and 6. I hope you enjoyed it. Please drop down and tell me what you thought about the show as a whole. Like, did you watch it all the way through? Do you think that it's worth it? I've had a lot of people just like, I ain't watching it. Like, I have no desire to watch that Black trauma. I'm not interested. But me watching it here, watching every single episode, I just don't see it as that. I think it has a lot of value, and I think it should be seen. Drop down and let me know your opinion. I'll see you guys next time for my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.